What is going on, you guys? So basically, gonna be reviewing Spider-Man 2 in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie, recommend doing so because there might be some spoilers, and well, there will be spoilers. So yeah, anyways, let's just get right into it. It picks up right after the first one left off and whatnot, and basically Peter Parker is he works two jobs now, and he has to pay the bills and whatnot, and his life is really almost coming apart, sort of, because he just he has trouble balancing being Spider-Man and Peter Parker, which I really like that this movie showcased both sides of it, and they really took their time to develop the characters, and they moved the story along quite nicely. And the editing is just there's so much I could say about this movie. I mean, editing is fantastic, really. I mean, special effects are top notch, honestly. Like even today, you could release this movie and it would still be really, really nice. I mean, yeah, and then uh Peter Parker though, I mean, like I said, he was Tobey Maguire in the last video. I said in Spider-Man 1 he was a good Peter Parker. In this one I felt like he was a much better Spider-Man, but that won't mean much cuz Spider-Man 3 anyways. Oh boy. Oh boy, I cannot wait to talk about that one. Topher Grace as Venom. Oh man, that should almost be its own video. Anyways, so yeah, what can I say? I mean, Sam Raimi directed really, I mean, he directed this movie somehow better than the first movie, which I mean, even when you go back and watch it now, which I just did, I mean, directing is fabulous. I mean, really, just like I said, the story moves at a nice pace. It has that Sam Raimi elements to it from Army of Darkness a little bit. You can tell like that scene where Doc Ock is getting his they try to cut off his tentacles and whatnot. It almost felt kind of like a horror movie. There was no music. It was just very nice, very nicely done. And yeah, I mean, the action sequences fantastic. Like that train sequence is probably one of the most memorable action sequences in any superhero movie. So yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite scenes in this movie. And again, J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, he has a bigger role in this movie, surprisingly or not. And he actually is. Yeah, I mean all the performances are better than they were in the first movie. Mary Jane, I'm still like, like I don't know, just it's another love interest, I guess. But then again, though, I mean, it's still important to the plot, so I guess I have to pay attention there because it's like, yeah, I mean, she's a part of Peter's life, so it's like the character is, so it's like, yeah, not bad, not bad performance necessarily. I mean, like I said, everyone did a much better job than they did in the first movie. Harry Osborn has a bigger role because he keeps thinking that Peter is kind of rejecting him and whatnot, and he's just taking pictures of Spider-Man all the time and whatnot, so he's kind of upset at him for that. And he even slapped Peter twice, which someone pointed this out, which I didn't even notice the first time I saw it, is that Harry basically slaps Peter twice, and Peter could have stopped him because he has the spider senses and the reflexes and whatnot, obviously because he has spider powers, so he could have stopped him like both times, but he decided not to because, I guess he wanted to let Harry vent, so I kind of like that in a little bit. It's like you can tell Peter Parker. I mean, you feel sorry for this guy. I mean, just looking at his apartment, and he goes through a lot and whatnot. And obviously the guy, Mr. Dickovich or whatever his name is, that the guy who lives right across the hall from him in his apartment. That guy keeps bugging him about rent and whatnot. And like, yeah, I mean, you feel bad for this guy. I mean, he lost his job at the beginning of the movie. That's how they open it up. Is he lost his job on his birthday, and then he almost got fired from the Daily Bugle because J.K. Simmons was like, "You're fired," and then he's like, "You're unfired," because he can't fire him because like they needed him. So, anyways, and then yeah, I mean, you just feel so sorry for this kid and whatnot. He doesn't make much. I mean, yeah, he lives in like some really ghetto apartment. I mean, yeah, it's a ghetto apartment. No other words can be used. Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, and then Mary Jane is kind of like on again, off again relationship with her. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to talk about Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Fantastic performance. Honestly, he is the best villain in this trilogy, hands down and whatnot. I I think that a couple of things might not have made sense, maybe with his motivations and whatnot. You could probably nitpick it, but at the end of the day, though, I mean, that whole fusion sequence in the middle of the movie and at the end, it made sense, I guess, because he, I don't know, it's weird to think about. He wanted the power of the sun, and I don't know, it's kind of weird now that I think about it, but nonetheless, he was a great villain. He was very menacing. He was in Spider-Man's head. You could tell he was really bugging him and whatnot, and like they had a great little back and forth throughout the movie and whatnot. He had some good one-liners. Like you have a train to catch. That was a good one-liner. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Overall, great villain. I really enjoyed his performance. So there's that, and then I want to talk about the ending a little bit. It's kind of weird how Norman Osborn showed up. I mean, maybe it was almost like it's not a flashback, but it's in Harry's head kind of because he misses dad so much. Maybe it was just imagining the whole thing, but I don't know. It's just like, what was that? It wasn't a dream sequence, that's for sure. I mean, I don't know what that was. I mean, it's kind of weird to just think about like he just randomly pictured his dad in the mirror or something like that. That was so weird. I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like an imaginary friend kind of like that, but nonetheless, it was cool to see Willem Dafoe again. And then, yeah, he breaks the mirror obviously with the knife, and then he goes in and then set up for Spider-Man 3, which unfortunately wasn't that good. I mean, yeah, that was studio interference. I'll talk about that in the next movie. But yeah, overall, I love the train sequence. I love there was a really good scene in which he goes into the building as Peter Parker, not Spider-Man, and he saves the kid, and then he couldn't save the other person on the fourth floor and whatnot. That was interesting because it was like he wanted to become Spider-Man again. Oh, by the way, something I wanted to talk about is that in the middle of the movie, obviously, there's that whole segment where he's running out of webs almost. Like, sometimes when he tries to shoot a web, it just doesn't land necessarily. Like, he tries to shoot a web and nothing happens. And then he loses his vision, kind of, like, it becomes blurry, so he has to put on his glasses again. And then after that, you have the whole. Yeah, he basically loses all of his powers. I mean, he can't even climb walls and whatnot. And he just gives up on being Spider-Man. I don't know what that was all about. Maybe he was just like, I don't know. Maybe it was just like exhaustion, exhaust. Ex- yeah, I think I said it correctly. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I don't know what that was. Maybe he was just tired mentally. So I mean, I don't know. But yeah, they never really explained that or just went over that in this trilogy. They just kind of glossed by it. I wish they would have. I don't know. Maybe there was some, like even the scene with the doctor just didn't feel a little bit satisfying. That's my one gripe with this movie is that when I was watching, I was just like, wait, why did he lose his powers? Is he just tired? Does he not want to be Spider-Man for a while? Did he need a break? Something? And another thing, I mentioned that in the last movie, this was before MCU. Obviously, it's still before MCU because this is 2004, and they didn't really mention any Marvel heroes or whatever, or any Easter eggs. There were a few in this movie. I caught some. Like for example, the scene where they're trying to come up with Doc Ock's name, so they call him Doctor Strange at first, and then they were like, "No, that's already taken." J.K. Simmons says that, and I was just like, "Oh, so they're already name dropping Doctor Strange?" Because I know they did that in Civil War. No, no, not Civil War. It was um, Winter Soldier, Captain America, where they name dropped Doctor Strange again. And I was just like, oh, interesting. So I mean, I think Marvel has been kind of hinting at that for a while, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird that they couldn't have name dropped Punisher. Like seriously, Frank Castle is in New York. I mean, not one mention of him, but oh well. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I mean, I don't want to make this review too long, so I'm just gonna wrap it up right here. On a scale of 1 through 10, like my rating system, for those of you guys who don't know, 1 is the best, 10 is the worst. I give this movie a 3. It's better than Spider-Man 1, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1, and it's much better than the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and it's much better than Spider-Man 3. So yeah, it's my favorite movie of the Spider-Man trilogy. So yeah, I give it a 3 out of 10. I love this movie. It's very rewatchable. I've seen it twice now. Very good movie, and yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think of Spider-Man? Feel free to leave a comment. Try to keep the comment section positive, you guys. I don't like negative comments, but yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching and goodbye.